All right, good day, everyone. So again, I'm just going to introduce myself, Chantal Adams, student counselor at the Western Cape campus. And the counselling unit is collaborating with the funding unit. We have today in our audience the funding officer at the Western Cape campus, Ms. Maduna Zukiwa Maduna. She's also here to assist you with any questions that you may have. You're welcome to make use of the chat function throughout the presentation. At the end of the presentation, we will have an interactive session where we will allow all cameras and mics to be turned on, and you'll raise your hands and just present your questions to either the speaker or our funding officer. The presentation is hasn't yet begun, so you won't be able to see the presentation yet. And our presenter today is one of our student mentors. So Counselling and Career Development, we host a volunteer program that is run annually. In December, the adverts usually go out for final year students who wish to participate in the student mentor program, where you get to mentor other students on a range of various topics. One of our mentors today with us, who is the presenter, Ms. Camilla Warzuk, she's going to be presenting to you on how to be a successful online Unisa student. So any challenges that you're experiencing, any frustrations you're having with Unisa, please share with us, and we can see how we can support you or redirect you to the relevant department who is able to give you the support you need. So our role here today as Unisa staff and as the volunteer is to give you the support that you need in order to achieve academic success and hopefully pass your semester and your year. The counselors are also available via email, telephone, online sessions using the Teams app, and also in person. So we will also share with you the counselors' contact details in case you need to set up an individual session or speak individually to a counselor. We can offer that support as well. And then once your semester is done, we also encourage you to set up an appointment with a counselor at the beginning of every semester to ensure that you have a proper study schedule in place and that you've set yourself up for success for the semester or for the year, depending on which modules you have or the combination of modules. So without further ado, I'd like to open up today's program. I'm going to turn off my camera and mic, and the presenter, Camilla, will take over. You will just notice in the chat function there is an attendance register for you to sign. Kindly ensure you sign the attendance register to receive a copy of today's recording and also to remain in contact with the counsellors. And there's also an evaluation form where you can give us some feedback in terms of how you found the experience of the online session today and also further topics that you would like support with. Camilla, you can take the floor.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Camilla Hursuk, and I am a final year Bachelor of Arts student majoring in psychology and sociology. I have the privilege of being part of the student mentorship program and the absolute honor of presenting to you a very important topic, which is how to be a successful Unisa online student. As we all know, Unisa is an open distance learning or ODL institution. Right. Now that you have successfully registered through Unisa and have a better understanding on what it means to be a Unisa ODL student, let's take a look at how to claim your My Unisa and My Life login. This is extremely important because your My Unisa is the official student portal for any study-related information. This will include your My Modules portal and your My Admin portal, which is the administrative portal. It will also give you access to your My Life Microsoft email account. This email is used for communication with Unisa and your lecturers. And if it is your first time claiming your My Life email account, it can take up to 48 hours to be created. Let's take a look at how you do that. So first thing you need to do is go to unisa.ac.za. This will take you to the opening page. What you can do is you can click the link in the header which says My Unisa, or you can scroll further down and click on the icon that says My Unisa. This should take you to the My Unisa page, and in the top right hand corner you'll find it has a login place where you can put your username and password. If you have not claimed your Unisa login yet, you can click the link in header that says Claim Unisa Login. This will take you through 4 steps. So the first step is you need to place in your student number. This is the same number that you got when registering through Unisa. You will then click Continue, and it should take you to step 2. Over here, you'll put in your personal details. Please make sure to put in the exact same details you put in when registering through Unisa. If it does not match, it will show an error. Where it says South African identity number and passport or passport number, only fill in one of the fields that is most relevant to you. You will then click Continue, and you will see a page like this. You will need to read each statement and click the box next to it to acknowledge the statements. Once you have read and clicked all the boxes, you will then click Acknowledge, which will give you your initial Unisa password. Please note that this is case sensitive, so it usually consists of 3 lowercase letters, 2 numbers, and 3 uppercase letters. You need to type it in exactly as you see it. If you do not, it will not work. We will then go back to the My Unisa page, and in the top right-hand corner, you will type in your student number under username and the password that they have provided for you. And then you will click Login. Now that you know how to access your My Unisa portal, let's take a quick look at how to navigate the portal. You can either access your My Unisa page as we discussed before, where you go to unisa.ac.za and click the link in the header or the icon below. But my personal preference is you go to www.unisa.ac.za/sites/myunisa. And just for the convenience of it, you can save it to your bookmarks for easy access. You will then click in to log in to My Modules. Once you have successfully logged in, it should take you to a page like this. This is my portal. So over here by My Modules, you will see all the modules you have registered for either the year or the semester. And on the right-hand side, you will find your calendar and upcoming events. This is where you'll find all your assignments, exams, or events that will be listed here. If you click into one of your My Module icons, where you'll have your modules, it should open up to a page like this. This is your welcome page. On the left-hand side, you'll find certain tabs. This is where you'll find your module code that you are doing. Over here, you'll find your prescribed material. So if your module requires a prescribed book, you will find the information of the book required here. Please note you won't find the actual prescribed book in this tab. Below, you'll find official study material. So this is where you'll find your tutorial letters, study guides. Your tutorial 101 is in each and every module that you do. This is very important to go through at the beginning as soon as you have access to your official study material, because the tutorial 101 has your purpose and outcomes of the module. It has details of your lecturers and department details such as their numbers and email addresses. You will also have information on library services and student support services. If you are unsure if you have selected the hard copies of the study guides when you registered through Unisa, or if you know you have selected the hard copies of the study guides but haven't received it yet, you can email dispatch@unisa.ac.za. Right, below you'll find your announcements tab. This is where your lecturer will use the announcements tool to inform you about meetings, conferences, or any important course-related issues. Then you'll find where your assignments can be accessed, and information of your assignments would be found here as well. For each module, it does look different. So just make sure to go through your portal and your modules to find out how used. Just because you are studying through Unisa, which is an open distance learning institution, does not mean you cannot connect with other students. There is a website called Unisa Groups where you can enter your module code and find Telegram or WhatsApp groups. My personal preference would be Telegram because I think it's more interactive. If any of the students have a similar question that you're thinking about, sometimes the students email the lecturers and then post their feedback on the group. Right now that you know your way around your Unisa portal, you have an idea of how to connect with students remotely. Let's take a look at a fundamental topic of being a Unisa online student, which is time management. I think this applies a lot to the second semester, especially as a NSFAS funded student. Right, so what is time management? One of the most alarming factors you must be feeling is all of the study material that you receive. And you're probably thinking you don't know where to start or how to start. But the first step in managing your time effectively is to plan and to set specific objectives. So you get two types of planning. You get long-term planning and short-term planning. Long-term planning is where you set an overview of your academic activities for the entire semester or the year, and then you plan accordingly. And how you do that is you get a year planner or diary and note down all of the important dates. So remember that study guide and tutorials we were talking about? Go through them, note the important dates, and write it down in your year planner or your diary. So a tip on how to plan long term is also the 60-30-10 principle. So you spend 60% of your time on general preparation and submitting and completing all of your assignments. 30% of your time is for intensive study and to grasp basic concepts. And then 10% of your time is for exam prep, where you go through past papers and answering questions that is in your study guide. And this is extremely beneficial because you won't have to worry about the future because you've planned ahead. This will give you peace of mind and keep you motivated. Short-term planning is where you plan something weekly and daily. So this also helps you to work out how much study time you have at your disposal. And you can do so by creating a weekly schedule. So this includes everything you have to do for the upcoming week and sections of work and study activities you need to complete. You could also do daily planning. So for example, you take time before you start with your day and you set out how much time you'll take to skim through the work, when to take a break, the length of the break, and how much time you're going to spend on summaries, on assignments, etc., etc. I'm sure just like me, we all have to deal with procrastination. It's a human thing to go through. But here's some tips on how to get through procrastination. So you're going to keep your goals specific. You're going to focus on the one thing you must do now and not what you still need to do. So for example, if you need to go through 200 pages of a study guide and you're going to break it down into 10 pages per day, you're going to focus on that 10 pages that you're going to do today instead of thinking about the 200 pages you need to do. Break a big task into smaller tasks. We're going to use the same example of the 200 pages. You're going to break it down into 10 pages. And then plan your task ahead of time and prioritize the important tasks. So this comes in where your long-term planning for the entire year, semester, or weekly planning comes into play. Right, Unisa has counseling and support services. So you can access that via self-help resources, which is on the website. I will provide all the links and email addresses in the chat function after the presentation. These resources are available as audio files and PDF downloads. My personal preference would be the audio files. You can also email Unisa counselors. So there is the Western Cape counselling address and the national email address. You could also book an online session, as Chantal mentioned earlier. Again, I will provide the links in the chat function. So, let us hear from you. Do you have any questions? Do you have any concerns? Do you have any feedback?
Thank you, Camilla, for the presentation. I just want to, if the students have any questions at this stage, I'm just going to ask you to raise your hands. The purpose of the conversation today is to get you started with your studies. I'm not sure when the registration was activated, but it's quite a short semester. So I think the purpose of today's conversation is just highlighting that it is a short semester. We are on the 19th. There's about, if I look at the calendar, 4 weeks left till the start of the exam period. So I think in terms of the planning that Camilla was speaking about and breaking it into larger chunks, into smaller parts, more manageable parts, is the sections that we need to focus on. Is how are you going to do that? Do you have a plan in place? And how you're going to activate yourself to achieve academic success over the next 4 weeks? And also to think about, is there any additional support you need? So today is the start of the conversation, but we're also having further workshops. Tomorrow we will have a workshop on note making and study skills. And then we've got assignment preparation, that one of the other mentors will present as well. So also just remember to sign the attendance register, because then I will also email the schedule of events to you so that you have it and you can save it somewhere, and you can then pick which workshops you wish to attend or you feel you need support with. I don't see any comments in the chat function. I'm also wondering if there's any students with concerns or questions outside perhaps of today's topic. Did today's topic resonate with you? Are there things that you need to do or put in place in order to ensure you achieve success this semester? What still needs to be done? I'm going to allow everyone's mics and cameras to be put on, so you're welcome to raise your hands and you can turn on your mic and speak to us if you wish. Camilla has also in the chat function shared the links to the Unisa site, the My Unisa site, details for study material, details for the Telegram and WhatsApp groups, the self-help resources, and the contact details for the counseling office, and also the link to book a session with a counselor. We also have with us in our audience today, Ms. Zukiwa Maduna. Zukiwa, maybe you have something that you want to say to the students today. Would you like to speak?
Hi, Chantal. Thank you very much. No. I don't have anything to say, but if there's anyone that has any concern, they're more than welcome to pose questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So Ms. Zukiwa is the funding officer. If you have any issues or questions, concerns related to your funding, then you're welcome to make contact with her. Someone's asking where to find the register. I'm going to put the attendance register in the chat function again for ease of reference. The register is included. And then also you can give us feedback and complete the evaluation form so that we know that when we're planning our events for the rest of the semester, we know what other topics we need to cover as well. So for the remainder of the semester, we're going to be looking at study skills and note making. We're also going to be looking at assignment and assessment preparation, how to navigate the online spaces. For the exams itself, the ADOVH team has a number of workshops that has a look at how to navigate and prepare for a successful online exam. I think I'll just share that with you. If there are any workshops on the schedule that you know you're not able to attend for any reason, then you're welcome to just email me and I can then send you the copy of the recording of the workshop. So I've just included resources on how to prepare for the online successful online exam. If it is your first time Then there are step-to-step guidelines and resources on how to navigate the various tools, proctoring tools, invigilation apps. And then also if you get stuck during your exam, while you're physically writing your exam, if anything happens, there's the contact details for the contact center. There's different contact details for the different colleges. The student would like to know, I'd like to ask, if you have passed your module, what do you do? Do you add your modules or re-register? And if you pass both semesters, do you have to re-register for 2025? Yes, correct. So you first need to check if your modules are year or semester modules, and that is how you do your planning. So you also need to check if your modules that you wish to register for has any prerequisites. Prerequisite modules means that you need to have passed module A in order to register for module B. There are 2 semesters in a year. So if you have semester modules, you will register in semester 1 is January, semester 2 is July. If you finish those modules and you pass the modules at the end of the semester, you will register for a new set of modules. So when you pass a module, you're done with it, you move on to the next set of modules. Okay, then you'll register. If the semester is done, you will register again and speak to us in January, anywhere from the 9th of January onwards. The month of January is usually registration for semester modules. Year modules, registration extends into Feb. We don't have the exact dates yet. That will only be shared with us towards the end of the year. So also, how do you make sense of your exam results? If you qualify for a SUP exam, your exam marks will indicate SUP. So you need a certain percentage in order to qualify for a supplementary exam. And then they just set an alternative date. If you fail a module, you need to re-register for it and pay for the module as if you've never done it before. And submit, obviously, all the assignments and assessments throughout the semester or the year again. So the contact details for the counselors, let me just go there again. Someone is looking for the contact details for the counselors. I'm going to include the email address. And then, are there any workshops related to curriculum for foundation phase? No. So if you need curriculum advice, you will need to speak to a student advisor. You can email them at Cape Town at Unisa. I'm putting the details in response to the question. Or you can make use of the walk-in service at the Cape Town campus. And we are open from Monday, Friday, 8 to 3:30. Oh, did I type 1:30? It's 3:30, 13. And then another student is asking, according to NSFAS, I'm a second-year student and would like to know how to apply for funding again, or does it just continue? Ms. Maduna, can you respond to that one?
Hi. The funding does continue, but then also there's a criteria. You need to have passed 50% of all your registered modules annually. So you happen to register 10 modules, you will have to pass at least 5 of those modules. And then without any cancellations and supplementaries, because those are regarded as per performance. So within your total registered modules, just pass 50% of that. And then you should also be in that 350,000 threshold household income still. Then if there are any changes at Home Affairs, you must let NFSAS know. So that's the 3 criteria: the academic record, household income, and then if there's any change in Home Affairs, then your funding will continue if that you pass that criteria.
Thank you, Zakiwa. There was another question. Hi, all. For someone who has not received book allowance since the first semester until now, how can you succeed with time planning that Camilla spoke about? So I'm also thinking, how else do you access the books? Do the library not have services? As I understand, the library, if they don't have the book on loan, you can also ask the library to check if they have it in PDF version to download. Camilla, do you want to add to that?
I think, yes, the library also, that has helped me also quite a bit. Also with, I think, the using your study guides, the soft copy study guides, instead of waiting for the hard copies, and just trying to work through the activities through the study guides as quickly as you can and with full understanding, especially for a short semester like semester 2. I think that is basically what I can add.
Okay. There was another question. I also included the contact details for the library, and the student can make contact with them. The student is asking, let's say if I sub a subject, does that automatically mean I failed the subject? So supplementary means you're given a second opportunity to write the exam and hopefully pass it the second time. So you don't register for the module and you don't pay for it again. The university merely sets an alternative date for you to write. And you must just ensure that you're ready to write that exam at the second opportunity. Only if you fail the second opportunity again, your second opportunity is your last opportunity to pass the exam. So if you don't pass that exam at the second opportunity, and then you officially fail the module and have to re-register. And the student is asking, and does NSFAS funded students after they completed an undergrad qualification, for example, a diploma in police science? So NSFAS, as I understand, Zukiwa explained, for all students, if you complete the undergrad qualification, apply for admission to the next qualification. So if you're changing from a diploma to advanced diploma, or you're changing from degree to honors, you must always apply for admission to the next qualification. Zukiwa?
Chantal, it's students that do a higher certificate. If, for example, you're doing a higher certificate now this year and you're completing it this year, and then next year only you're applying for formal qualification, it's those students that apply. But if you are moving from a formal qualification to another, NSFAS does not fund you. They can only fund one formal qualification. Then they do give chance to those who do higher certificate into a formal qualification, but not more than one qualification, formal one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I see in the chat function also someone saying I'm funded by NSFAS, but I get statements saying I'm owing. How do I deal with that? Another one saying I registered 3 modules for the first semester and got a portion book allowance. Then I registered for 5 modules for the semester and want to know if I'll get a book allowance. So Zukiwa, I assume you'll then need to check on the system for that student.
Yes, that's correct. I'll have to check and investigate.
Then there's a question. I've done 10 modules per year, but apparently my first year modules, 2 of my modules does not apply with my degree. I'd like to know what my 4th year is. It any way possible for me to do 12 modules? So a student must apply. There's an application form you must complete to apply to exceed the minimum. I'll just put the form in the chat function as well. And as I understand, there is certain requirements you need to meet in order to exceed that maximum. So the maximum is 10 modules a year, 120 credits, but you can apply if your final modules are year modules, you can apply for additional 2. But if your final year modules are semester modules, you can only apply in your final semester to add on the additional 2. Is that, am I understanding correctly, Zukiwa? I'm just going to add the details on how to apply in the chat function.
Yes. Just say that again, Chantal, sorry.
So as I understand, the rule is if the student wants to apply to exceed the maximum, so if it's 10 modules for the year, if the modules are year modules, they can add an additional 2. But if the modules are semester modules, they must wait till the final semester, and only in the final semester they can add on 2.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's correct.
So I've just put the details in terms of how to follow the process to apply to exceed the maximum. Student is asking, I'm studying a diploma in law. Is it possible to cancel the qualification, apply for a higher certificate in law, and then apply for a law degree? Will NSFAS fund me?
As long as you study, if you're, for example, if you are doing a diploma, if you study less than 2 years and then you want to change, that's still fine. But then you can't study funded by NSFAS more than 2 years and then want to change into another qualification. If it's less than 2 years, you may change as you please, as long as it's not a short course and it's not a post-grad qualification, then you'll still be funded.
Okay. And then another student asking, do I have to reapply for NSFAS after completing the higher certificate?
Yes, you have to. Remember, I said if you are doing a higher certificate and you are changing into a formal qualification, you have to reapply for NSFAS, because higher certificate and the criteria for a formal one, it's different. So yes, you do have to reapply.
Okay. And then there was another student saying, I got an email saying I'm not registered for semester 2 because I did not give the minimum prescribed fee, but I'm a NSFAS student. So I assume that you'll need to check on as well.
Yes, I will need to, because also it depends on when the student did the TP, and then they consider an AOD, because remember, even with us in Unisa, we wait for NSFAS to be the one confirming the student. So we cannot just activate your registration without that confirmation. But the student can send me an email, I'll investigate.
Okay. And then for those students wanting to apply to change qualifications, applications to change opens the 21st of August to 11 October. And you will, of course, apply using the online application portal that you used to apply when you first became a student. I'll put the link in, and it will only open the 21st. That's the application link. Does NSFAS fund honors? We said NSFAS only funds one qualification, right? So Kiwi, so if you completed an undergrad, they're not going to fund the honors.
Yes, but there's a Unisa bursary for honors specifically. So the student can check that specific honors Unisa bursary.
Okay, so let's share then the link for them for the bursary and loan information, postgrad bursaries. All right, so I'm including the link to the postgrad bursaries that the student can go check out. Then another student say, I have an inquiry about my final marks for the first semester. I've checked my online portal, but the mark is not what I expected. I completed all my assessments, but my final mark is 2%, and not understanding as to why it's so. Could you please let me know why this mark is like this? I would really greatly appreciate it. I know the marks I received for each of the assignments, and it's not adding up. This has happened before regarding my assignment, where I was given the wrong mark, only to find out the problem was the other side. So any issues with assignment marks? Final mark for first semester. So this is exam. Was it a continuous assessment module or was it a written exam? I'm wondering, because if it's exam final mark, we need to redirect to the exams department. If it's continuous assessment, we redirect to assignment section. Is that correct, Suki? Am I on the right track? When will the official exam timetable be out? I have no idea. I haven't heard that it's been released yet. Zukiwa, do you know anything?
No, I do not know. I do not know that.
Camilla, do you know anything?
No, I don't actually, but usually it comes out towards like in September, beginning of September, mid-September.
Okay. So it should be then available within the next 3 weeks. Students need to check there. Keep an eye on their My Life emails. How do I apply for supplementary? I was struggling with writing exam online, ended up failing it. If you fail a module, you can't apply for a supplementary. A supplementary exam, you are given based on the mark that you receive for the exam. So supplementaries, you qualify by obtaining, what is this weird percentage you need? 35 to 40. a certain percentages you need to achieve to qualify for a supplementary. So it's not something that you can apply for. Supplementary. So a postgrad student where applicable will be granted a sub if they achieve a minimum of 40% in the summative assessment. So different rules for postgrad and undergrad, and you need to qualify by obtaining a certain percentage, and also different rules for written exams versus continuous assessments as well. But you cannot apply for a sub. May I ask if doing a higher certificate, do you then have to apply now again for next year for a diploma? Yes. Each time you change qualifications, you must apply online. Applications open the 21st of August. How does one request a student card? So your student card, you need to visit the campus because they need to take a physical picture of you. So you'll need to make your way to the Cape Town campus Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. They are open on certain Saturdays. So if you want to inquire, I'm just going to put the access control guys' email address in the chat function so you can check which Saturday they open. One student would like to know, do we get book allowances for second semester in diploma public relations?
Book allowances work like if you've got, let's say first semester, you register 1 to 4 modules, it's 600 per module. But if you go and register 5 to 10 modules, and then you get a stable annual amount of 5,460. And then we've got an extra living allowance for only students who register 10 modules. So some students register first and second semester 10 modules, they receive a living allowance. Then if you do 5 in the beginning and then add semester 2, 5 again, that still makes 10. So in the second semester, you'll be receiving a living allowance as well. But it's strictly for students that that register 10 modules, only the living allowance.
Someone says they want to check exam results. It says study fees outstanding. So I'm not sure if it's because of the 2 sub-exams in the beginning of the year, but I've paid the exam fee. I'd like to know why it says study fees outstanding, also funded by NSFAS.
That one you would need to send me your student number because I have to thoroughly check your student account.
Okay. Another one, I know, can I do a sub if I'm unable to do an exam? So if you know that you're not able to write an exam on a specific date, you must apply for they call it an aggregate exam. But undergrad students, let me get the rules right. Undergrad students get 2 opportunities to write exams. So you don't have to apply, am I right, for the aggregate? So an aggregate may be granted to postgrad students who've been prevented from taking the exam. Illness, you submit a medical note. But undergrad students, you are given 2 chances to write the undergrad paper. Undergrad rule 20.7 says, I'm going to put the rule document in the chat so you all have it. An undergrad student where applicable who failed the first exam opportunity or was absent will be granted another opportunity in the next examination period. Okay. Here's the student rule handbooks for you all to have. Also want to know, in the event you qualify for a sub-exam, however you pass the exam, is there a way to improve your year mark instead of the exam? No, your exam is your exam. Your program is very structured. You have assessments throughout the year. You have exam. There's no additional task you can do to accumulate more marks. Does exemption subjects apply to a student's qualification when requirements for a distinction or cum laude is applied? Oh, how do they calculate cum laude is basically what you're asking. Cum laude, there we go. The pass mark for a module is 50%. The predicate with distinction, you must have 75% or higher. Final exam mark 75% or higher. A student will obtain cum laude when you pass all the modules with the qualification at Unisa. passed all final modules at the first attempt attained an average of 75% or higher in the qualification. The mark for the exempted modules granted by the virtue of modules passed at Unisa will be included in the calculation of the overall average. And let me just check someone saying I didn't respond to something. Nadine. Beginning of the year, only registered for 4 modules because the system said I have a problem. Now I have 4 modules, supposed to have 10 modules. So I think I did respond to that. You can only add an additional 2. If your year modules are all year modules, you can wait till your final year. But if you have only semester modules, you must wait for your final semester of the entire qualification to be able to apply for the additional 2. So you're basically applying to exceed the maximum, which is 10 modules a year. I'm going to put that link in the chat function again. Let me just see, where is it? Here it is. How the allowance work for 10 registered modules. Sorry, one of the students had technical issues and missed. How does the allowance work for 10 registered modules?
So if you've got 10 registered modules, you receive on top of your book allowance of 5,460 an additional 3,000, which is calculated for 10 months, 304 Rand 50 for 10 months, which adds up to the 3,000. So for 10 modules, you get an additional, apart from book allowance, 3,000.
It looks like we've responded to all the questions. Amira Ibrahim, are you happy? I see your hand is up. Your mics are unmuted, so you can speak if you want. I think you did have a question that we've responded to, exceeding the maximum. I'm just going to again.
Yes, you did.
Okay,
you
perfect.
did reply to my questions. I did ask another question though. This is the most I've got. So sorry that I'm asking so many questions.
No, go ahead. That's why we're here.
So my younger sister applied for Unisa last year, and she applied for NSFAS. She was approved for NSFAS, but she didn't realize that she didn't want to study this, because she just matriculated last year. My question is, she wants to go through Unisa next year, and she figured out what degree she wants to do. Can she apply for next year for the qualification she wants with NSFAS still or not?
If the student is funded this year and they don't study first or second semester, it means that for the whole year you've missed out and now you need to reapply for 2025. So the student would now have to reapply when NSFAS opens for 2025 because they were not registered any of the semesters.
Okay, so is there no penalizing fee or something because she didn't get any allowance? She cancelled it before she could receive any allowance, but she wants to know, is there a fee because she admin fee or something because of deciding not to use NSFAS this year and study this year?
Remember with Unisa, they can do an ASA cancellation for you, which is free in 10 days. So if you cancel within the 10 days, then the student won't be penalized. But if it's more than 10 days, and then you'll have a cancellation fee of which now you will have an outstanding because NSFAS does not cover cancellation fees. So that we would need to check on the student accounts. But if the student canceled more than past the 10 days, then certainly they have a cancellation fee which they are liable for because NSFAS does not cover.
Okay, I was with her when she cancelled it in the 10 days. I know what you're talking about. We cancelled it in time. We were at the campus in Paddo and we cancelled it in the 10 days time. Just wanted to know if there's any other fee. But thank you so much for all the responses, ladies. You have been very, very wonderful. One more question, sorry. So with that October thing, like I said, I'm giving birth in October. I'm just worried that I want to come home and write my exam. I don't want to write next year. So I have Caesars. So I'm hoping that I can slot it in the right time. I'm trying to make sure that this baby gets cut out only then. So I want to know.
But you are undergrad student, right?
I think I get confused every time, sorry. A BEd in foundation phase.
Yeah, so you are undergrad student, it's your undergraduate degree. So as we said, undergrad students get 2 opportunities to write. So if you miss the first exam period, you will just write in the next exam period.
Okay, so and that'll probably be next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, ladies. Okay. Thank you so much. God bless. Keep up.
Pleasure. Someone was asking, is it true that the living allowance of 305 Rand is going to increase?
We have not heard that from the sponsor, so I cannot confirm it to be true.
Okay. So students are just registration to add modules is closed. You can only register to add modules in January. You are now in your exam period. You only if you're changing qualification, if you're changing from a higher certificate to a diploma, or from a higher certificate to a degree, or from degree to an honors, when you change qualifications, you need to apply, and our application is opening from the 21st of August. But if you're an existing student and you simply want to register to add modules, you can only do that in January 2025. Okay. Student is saying he received an allowance at the beginning of the year. Now I had 5 modules. Now in second semester, I have 5 modules, but I've not received an allowance. Does that mean NSFAS is not funding me?
If you received an allowance first semester, it means you are funded. And then remember, the second semester, you just added now the other 5 modules. So when you add, we first have to send the claim to NSFAS, then only give you your living allowance. So you still will receive the allowance. But all that now we'll have to wait for NSFAS to receive the claim.
And then the one student who says you chose the wrong subjects, I've also referred you to the advisor. So the advisor can check your curriculum in terms of your module choices up to now, and they can then indicate your outstanding modules that you still need to register for, so that going forward, you know what modules are outstanding. So if you need to change any modules, the advisors can do that as well. But I think it's important that you check your curriculum and your module choices thus far as well. So you can email student advisors who have access to our student system are accessible via email, the Cape Town at Unisa address, or you can make use of the walk-in service by visiting the campus Monday to Friday, 8 till 3:30. Okay. So I think we've answered everyone's questions. Looks like it. Will NSFAS refund the registration fee to students?
Yes, we normally do that towards the end of the year, but everyone who paid any amount towards their study fees and is funded will receive their money through their bank accounts.
Okay. So someone says they downloaded the exam timetable, but when they open it, there's nothing. I don't think the exam dates are not available yet. That's why when you're opening it, there's nothing. The exam timetable is not yet set and is not being communicated to students. So what we can recommend that you check your My Life email address. Your exam timetable should be made available within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And remember, you cannot apply for a supplementary exam. You either qualify for it or you don't, but you cannot apply for it. Okay. All right. I think that brings us to the end of the session. I'd like to thank Ms. Zukiwa for being present and engaging and responding to all of the funding inquiries today. And thank you to our students for the lively engagement. Thank you to Ms. Kamila Warzuk, our presenter and student mentor, and well done on a this is Kamila's first mentoring session with our students. I think she did an excellent job. And yeah, we'd be nothing without our students. So thank you for attending. Make sure you sign the attendance register so that you have contact with us, and you also give us feedback in terms of what other support you need. And we can email you a recording of today's session as well. All right. Tomorrow we're hosting a workshop on note making and study skills. If you wish to attend that workshop, we'll send an SMS out as well. But let me also just get to the link so I can put it in the chat function in case you wish to attend. Let me just see, where is my workshop schedule? Otherwise, thank you so much for attending today. And with that, I close today's program.
Thank you so much, Chantal, and good luck to all of the students.
Thank you, Camilla.